Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. What do you do when you make a mistake or you do something and the outcome of your doing is not good for you? What do? You start blaming others, right? No. You look at your actions, reevaluate, plan, find a solution, and then you implement the solution. Try again. You might have chances to succeed next time. Maybe you're gonna fail again, but that's how you eventually succeed. Perseverance. You have to, try, and then you adjust, and finally you will win. Well, when you blame others for your failures, what does that mean? You're an imbecile and you can't win. You will not win. Your chances to win next time in another circumstance will be diminished because that means you have the wrong way of looking at life and things. Now, this is the United States of America right now. I think the United States of America is delusional, is in a state of delusion. This is reality, and they choose to see it differently. When they do something towards the reality according to their delusion, the outcome is negative, is parallel. And instead of saying, whoa, let's reevaluate what happened here. Objectively, if I want to solve the problem, they don't do that. They start pointing fingers at others and blame them for their failure, which is what? Self-attribution, whatever theory, complex, how you want to call it. So let me show you how the Americans screwed up in Russia, in Ukraine, and now they have the North Koreans. And instead of saying, whoa, we have the Russians and the North Koreans now like blood brothers, as Iron Maiden song, we'll be like brothers, Instead of saying, whoa, that's because our imbecilic worldview and our diplomatic failures, they don't do that. They say, no, they are bad. It's something else. No, it's you. It's your failure. If you're driving a car and you turn left instead of turning right, and the left goes you on a little cliff down, you see, when you go down and say, Jesus Christ, Mom, why did you give birth to me? No, it's not her fault. It's you, baboon. So let me show you how the Americans are blaming and threatening the North Koreans. That's the same style. You don't do what I tell you, I'm gonna smack you. Who does that? A person who is very much egalitarian and likes democracy and freedom and liberty. No, that's a tyrant. Right there. Let me show you. First, Trump comes and says that Putin wants peace. Okay, that's a good start, which is right here. Ukrainska Pravda. Trump makes new statements on war in Ukraine, saying Putin would like to stop war. During the interview with a media operative from ABC, I covered that earlier today with that Moran. That's how his name, Terry Moran. Moran, you know what, Moran? Okay. So Putin would like to stop the war. I will go further than that. He did not want to have a war. He tried to avoid it for about, 25 years. But he failed. Why? The other side had other ideas, which is, we're not going to talk to you. We're going to tell you what to do. And Putin said, yeah, okay, all right. I'm going to train. While you over there smoke and you're with the ladies of the night and have parties and think you are all that, I will work hard. Do some push-ups, punch the bag, do some, sparring, shadow fighting, fight in competitions, little ones as I can, like for instance Georgia, in Syria. I just test myself, do some Tame Shiwari, boom, break stuff. Yeah, man, I'm strong. And then says, now, you said what? You said you want something in Ukraine? No, you can't have that. Veto. And the guy is like with the cigars and the bourbon and with the ladies. What is this Russians want? What? Say what, baby doll? Yeah, come to the table to negotiate. Let's talk about Ukraine. There's nothing to talk about Ukraine, bro. What are you going to do about it? We're going to invade. Stop, wait. Music off, baby. Out. What did you say, Vladimir? Are you challenging me? Can't you see what I am? That's exactly why I challenge you, because I can clearly see what you became. All right. That's what he wants, peace. He never wanted war. But hey, according to these guys, yes. And let's go to the blaming the North Koreans. My point is this. You are engaged in a criminality. And someone else is engaged this much in the same criminality you are involved this much. And then you say, wait, the North Koreans are actively helping the Russians. That's a no-no. But you've been doing this for 3 years and 3 months or so? 2 months? And the extent, we're going to find out how many North Koreans died in the war against the West, our values, according to Ukrainians. All right, let me show you this article. Ukrinform. State Department, North Korea responsible for aiding Russia. This prolongs war in Ukraine. Do you remember when the Russians kept saying, Peskov and others, providing Ukraine with more military aid, weapons, is not going to have Ukraine win. You're not going to win. It's just going to prolong the war. Do you remember that? So the Russian says, if you bring more over there, we're going to bring more here. It's going to escalate and it's going to prolong. Now the Americans say the same thing. I feel ashamed to tell you this. I can't believe, but let's start differently. Too much cocaine or something? What the? No. All right. Living in Romania, we looked at the Americans through propaganda and even during the communist times as being somehow superior as a nation, as a country, as ideology. And with all the communists hitting us in the head, we still believe that. Because you interacted with the Americans, you see what they produced, and you see that's better than... We didn't understand a lot. We were not told a lot. But nevertheless, when it became free Romania, I got access to more information. And I realized that indeed certain things were more than I expected, and many things were less than they told us. And I can't believe that the Americans think like this. It's not because they haven't been thinking like this for decades, which is his mind, I'm stronger, I'm taking it, like Korea, Vietnam, and other interventions, CIA interventions. I didn't know about that, but hoppa, the cat brought a toy. All right, I'm busy. I'm having fun here. All right. I didn't know about them. When I knew about it, the America started, like this. Still, for me, as a preference, the best. That's my preference, my friends. And it's going even worse than this. With these guys, what, you brought it? Okay, stop. All right, here is what he brought. This is his toy. That is the, for graduation. Here. Okay, play meow meow. So, now they say that you can't do what I'm doing. Is that hypocrisy? When you say, I'm doing exactly what I tell you not to do? It's just infuriating, let's put it mildly. So, North Korea's assistance to Russia is prolonging the Russian-Ukraine war, and the country bears responsibility for this. The Russians were saying this for years. If you guys help those guys, it's not going to happen anything but prolonging the war. And we're going to win in the end because we have nuclear weapons. Or we're not going to lose. What are you going to do? Are you going to use? Oh, what's up, meow meow? You're here? All right. So, let me show you another one. Because the Americans still think they have it. It's like an old whore who thinks that still has and she needs to be paid. Or like an old boxer, right? Old boxer who used to be a world champion. Now he's 68, if he gets to be 68 and not. All right? He says, I still have it. You want to see a sad video? I urge you, or I recommend, to see, what's his name? Jesus Christ. Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier, in his gym, before he died, I think he died about 68, he was 68 years old, or 69, something like this. Not long after that video was shot with him. And he's in the gym. It's a sad video. It's a sad, and that was meant to promote him or something. For me, it was sad. And he wears Smoking Joe, with his little bag. He shows up with his band-aid face, for ready to go, and he shows over there, and he's like, oh yeah, I still have it, man, yeah champ, you got it. No, you got nothing. Nothing. That's what Americans are right now. They still have the old gloves, the old, how do you call this, whatever they show up in a freaking ring, I can't remember the name. They show up over there and you still got it. You don't relax, plant flowers, I don't know, walk a dog, maybe play piano or ping pong, but don't come with that. The Americans, they think, right, they urge. US urges North Korea to halt involvement in war against Ukraine. Or what? Or what? What are you going to do? You haven't been doing anything for what? The past 20 years at least? From 1980s, when these guys acquired nuclear weapons from our friends and allies. Remember who that was? The country starts with an I. Among others, but nevertheless. So, what are you going to do about it? You just embarrass yourself by making threats that you cannot fulfill. Don't draw a line in the sand and say, don't cross this way, I'm going to do this, I'm going to punch you in the face. They cross this back and forth and you're like, don't do it. You embarrass yourself. The same with the tariffs. The same in Ukraine. The US embarrassed itself. Why? Because they were partying and they think they still got it. And when they were exposed to real challenges, it failed and is failing miserably. It has to drop its arrogance. Next one. Right here. North Korea shares blame for Russia's war in Ukraine. How about you guys? I used to listen to her. She's a lesbian. She's nothing wrong with that, as long as she, stays over there. All right. She's a gay woman. Not bad. And she used to be invited at Tucker Carlson many, many times. And she seemed logical. But it seems like once they step in Washington, D.C. in a position of relative power, they change. Or they show who they really are. Which one is it? Because really, she's just a person who's going to make a statement right here. She's not in charge of shit. North Korea shares blame. What about the United States of America? Shares blame from expansion of NATO? I'm listening. Bring it up, baby doll. I don't bring it, but you know what I mean. How about that one? How about Ukraine? How about arming Ukraine? How about giving them $200 billion together with your baboons in Europe and all over your little vassal states? How about that one? No responsibility? How about trying to destroy Russia, take its natural resources, their culture, their traditions, their democracy? All right, let's see how many North Koreans died in the war in Ukraine according to the South Koreans. This is like a parody. It's not a comedy, it's a parody here. The South Koreans who are under US occupations tell us how many North Koreans, their brothers, died in Ukraine. Ukrainska Pravda. About 600 North Korean soldiers killed in Kursk Oblast, Seoul. All right. Around 600 have been killed during Russia's war against Ukraine. No. All right. No. Here is a lie, and I'm going to explain why is a lie. So, let's read this again. Around 600 North Korean soldiers, nothing, I don't know if that's true or not, so I can't verify, but I can verify what's coming, have been killed during Russia's war against Ukraine. No, that's not Russia's war against Ukraine. It's Ukraine's invasion of Russia. That's more exact. No? Why don't they say during the hostilities? So, it depends what kind of euphemism you want to use. They say Russia's war against Ukraine. No, Ukraine's invasion, NATO invasion using the baboons, in Russia. That's where the North Koreans died. Maybe they have different information, all right? So, you see, it's a slightly different story. Oh, the Russian war on Ukraine. No, it was these guys' invasion, and these guys, under the treaty alliance, they were obliged to show up and defend the Russians, not to attack and cross into Ukraine. They didn't do that, as far as I know, for now. Is that a lie? Well, I'll let you be the judge. Including while participating in combat operations in Russia's Kursk Oblast. So they say it was the war, including. And where else? Where else? Can you tell me? Where? In Donbass? In Luhansk, Donetsk, Kharkiv, Kharkov? Where? All right, said South Korean lawmaker, citing intelligence reports. Let's start with this. when I hear someone telling me that that's an investigation and this is what I found out, but I can't disclose you anything else, don't trust that. I mean, wait. I mean, okay, you take it into consideration, but I'm waiting. And especially when these guys from FBI, CIA, NSA, Pentagon come and say you, whatever boogeyman they want to build did this. Excuse me, sir. Yes. Can you give us more details? What do you mean he did this, they did this? I can't disclose confidential information. They would endanger our men and women in uniforms' lives. Then pula mea. Okay? That's how it is. When you hear, it's still under investigation, we can't disclose. That means they can tell your mom did this or did that. And we ask, okay, where's the evidence? We're the intelligence, man. We're not going to provide you the evidence that we claim we have. But hey, you got to trust us. Fuck off. That's not going to happen. So the same with these guys. I have the intelligence reports. I will mention 2 countries with intelligence reports. I don't going to mention Israel with their intelligence reports on Iran's nuclear process. I'm going to use the Americans and the Brits during Saddam Hussein's attempt to, you know what's going on. When they came and lied. For me, that was not like, oh my God, do they lie to us? By then, I already knew. I already knew it. My point is like, how far do they go and what will be the consequences? And the consequences were they didn't care. So don't you think that these guys really care about the Ukrainians or the Russians dying in Kursk or in Donbass or wherever they die over there? I don't believe that a second. When they say, well, stop the carnage, a lot of people are dying. What? What are they talking about? You impose sanctions on, yes, United States of America during Madeleine Albright, the fantastic Madame Secretary of State, together with the baboon Clinton. They imposed sanctions on Iraq, if you remember, and the consequences of those sanctions imposed, the estimate of people, children, Iraqi children died were about $500,000. People, children. And that's an infamous interview with Madame Albright, if you think the price was worth. And she said, yeah, for 500,000 children. Do you think these guys care? You have to have, I think, a criminal mind to be able to go to Washington, D.C. and have a position of relative power. You have to do things that really, in the same par with, what's his name? Stalin, the Georgian dictator. Let's go to the next topic. And here is Trump. Ukraine forum. Trump says Russia's strikes targeting Ukrainian cities, again, lying by interpretation and nuances, inappropriate. Okay, all right. This is what he says. I was not happy when I saw Putin shooting missiles into a few towns and cities. And that was not something that I like seeing. Okay, and I think it was inappropriate, but I think the whole word is inappropriate. Again, it's a word that shouldn't have happened. I agree. Now, is Trump upset with Putin shooting missiles or missiles in general being shot on civilian targets? Well, he can't say it's just Putin because Netanyahu, all right? So I haven't heard Trump saying anything about Gaza, shooting in Gaza towns and cities. Did you hear anything about that? Let me know. Why is that? So that's why this kind of concern coming from America's president are just crocodile tears. Garbage, zero, squat, fart, wet fart. Really? What's going on here? Is he going to talk about it? Is he going to talk about what's going on in Gaza? Why wouldn't he dare to say anything over there? Well, you know why. Therefore, when these guys are telling you stop the carnage, it's not only hypocrisy. It's criminal. I mean, you take it however you want. And you know what's criminal? It's not because it happens between you and your child or you and your neighbor. It's global shit. What's going on in that location in the Middle East compared with those things in Ukraine? No, look at the number. Now, I'm not for doing that. But let's say my enemy hides in that house and I have to get rid of him. I say, come out, Itzhak. Come out. And Itzhak says, I'm not coming. I'm going to stay here with these guys over here. And you shoot and destroy that house. Is that a crime? If you say yes, then you should also say it was a crime, the pager and the walkie-talkie operation hailed operation by Trump and everybody else. How intelligent these guys were, madam, the Israelis. They blew up those guys. How many civilians died? There were more civilians who died in those attacks with the walkie-talkie and the pagers than were the guys that they were targeting. And they say, well, collateral damage. Why? Because other people answered those phone calls and people were around the guys who were handling them. So when you tell me that the Russians struck that building in Kharkiv, in Sumy, where according to the Russians, and these guys did not deny it, the Ukrainians, was a gathering, well, just a commemoration, a medal awarding ceremony of some generals, colonels. A colonel was killed as well. You know, and Putin said, I'm not defending Putin. He said he can defend himself, you know. Big balls don't have to do it. So he said, well, if your military uses civilian infrastructure, we're going to hit those civilian infrastructures. That's it. And if there are people around, talk to Netanyahu. That's extra what I added. So here you have it, my friends. North Koreans, you can't do that. Or what exactly? Now, whose fault is it that these guys are right now blood brothers? Whose fault is it that the Chinese are blood brothers with the Russians? Whose fault that BRICS is closer and grows? Whose fault? Is your fault at all? No. They're bad. And we're good, man, and we're the best. Give me that cigar. All right, hey, baby doll, come back. Start the party started. That's how it is. Exactly. And those guys are training, are practicing, as we used to. But we change. We are good, man. Living in America. Remember Rocky? And the guy shows up and James Brown. That's how we are. Lights and smoke. And in reality, we are not as we used to. Or you used to. I don't claim, that I built this country. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.